NewsTalk 710 KURV, audio on demand.
Our guest is the mayor of San Juan. Her name is Juanita Sanchez. And she's joining us. She's taking a break from her law practice to talk about San Juan. Let's bring the listeners up to speed. San Juan had decided to combine a Cinco de Mayo celebration with Memorial Day. They were going to put it all on the 21st, and there was enough pushback from veterans, like the woman we just had in here, saying, no, this is not an appropriate thing to do for Memorial Day, which is a somber day. It's a day originally set aside to honor the dead of the American wars. I think this is a civil war, starting the Civil War, and this is just not appropriate. It was heard at San Juan City Hall, I guess, and thank you very much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to talk to yourselves and the listeners about our event.
Well, we know you're a patriot over there in San Juan. So what was the thinking at City Hall about the combination of the two holidays or the two observations?
I think it all goes back. We all serve the same taxpayers, and we've been having a few unfortunate issues happening with the San Juan EDC.
Yep.
And so in a sense of being able to have our two events that we normally do, and that was our Cinco de Mayo and also our Memorial Day. Our Cinco de Mayo had to be pushed into a different weekend because the city's pretty much the one that is funding that event. And so basically we have our folks working overtime at whenever we have an event that's not a regular business day, which is the same thing. So basically what we wanted to do was make sure that we did not skip any of our, especially to our veterans, our remembrance days. And Memorial is one that we always hold a solemn ceremony. And our intent is to hold a solemn ceremony right before the evening lineup that was going to happen. Just completely separate and apart in the sense of making sure that we tell our folks who gather, and especially in our city, how important it is to always remember. And that is why we can gather, and that is why we can come together.
Sure.
Is because of those who are all over, especially now in these times that are all over the place and are serving us, so that we can gather as a community to remember and to celebrate.
What were you all contemplating doing for Memorial Day? What kind of expense was involved in that?
Well, Memorial Day, we typically have at our because we have a memorial library, just because we do have a memorial wall within our library that we will be building up, and that's to honor our veterans. We also have our Liberty Park where we have the memorial wall for all our fallen soldiers in San Juan, and we always have our Veterans Day the sunset ceremony where we bring our veterans and our communities together to show our appreciation. So we're definitely very patriotic in San Juan. And when we were putting this together, there was never an intent to offend anyone, and definitely never to disrespect what we always hold high and dear, and that is the lives of those that have suffered and given up themselves so that we could do what we do on a day-to-day basis in this country.
Our guest is Juanita Sanchez. She is the mayor of San Juan in your second term, am I right?
This is actually my third term.
Oh, all right.
She was like, let me correct you, Davis. My third term.
Well, she was in, then she was out, and now she's back in again. So.
Mayor,
that's right.
When the story came out, because we first saw the story a few days ago, what happened after? Did you guys receive calls? What was the community?
I just received one call and one email. That's all I got. But I got folks telling me I think they've misunderstood, and it's very obvious that it's definitely misunderstood how this was coming across. And really, we did it because of one, we don't want to not have a Memorial Day, and one, we have committed already in a big way in the festival. So it's kind of, I thought in a big way, it's a moment where you've got a captured audience, and it is a time that we say this is how we remember, and we always have all the protocols when it comes to these ceremonies. So it was definitely going to be something that's very solemn and very respectful, and that's what we were doing.
Now, I'm finally in a position to ask somebody in authority about this, and this is not a contentious question. It's what I call a gee whiz question. I have no problem with people celebrating or marking Cinco de Mayo, But every year, I used to do interviews with people, history experts, about what was significant about it in Mexico, and we would always end up saying, but it's really not that big of a deal in the U.S. This isn't like a Mexican holiday, and it's not even Mexican Independence Day.
Right.
What kind of popularity is there for this, or did you have constituents who express a desire to mark that event in the U.S.? I'm fascinated. I always say it's the beer guys. They came up with it because they want to sell beer, and more power to them. But I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Time I got in my second term, we already were celebrating Cinco de Mayo. The way that I see Cinco de Mayo when it comes to celebrating, I think we learned the history of that battle between Mexico and France. It's another form of the David and Goliath.
Yes.
It is the unbelievable, commitment
Victory,
and determination and victory of a small, force against a very large one that came to conquer, and yet, it was incredible how they were able to do it.
They got whooped by the huarache wearing Mexicans, is the way it was told to me.
It's amazing, and I think that, personally, that's what I understand it to be. I definitely inherited the festival, but in the way that I see it in our community, we do have so many cultures that come together. We're not all Mexican American. We've got all an incredible blend, and I think that that's what this fest is becoming is to honor the cultures that live in our communities as we come together. Mm-hmm. We celebrate that, and of course this year, because we're not going to be able to do it on the Cinco weekend, it did have to be pushed back. So we just call it Mayfest, and it's getting our communities together, getting our communities to interact and to, a quality of life.
Sure.
Mayor, so y'all changed the name from Cultural Heritage Day. Is it still on May 21st?
Yes. It's May 21st this year. I'm not sure what next year brings, but this was a special type of year where we were not able to get it put together because of the kind of, the constraints we've had.
Well, let me ask you about that. Have y'all figured out, all I know is what I hear in the news, and I'm not pointing fingers, but my takeaway from the news accounts is that the city doesn't know why it's in the hole.
Well, we do know. We know now. We know now. I can tell you that moving forward, we've got a really dedicated board that is looking to. We're doing an internal audit. We want to make sure that policies are put into place that this doesn't happen again. And I think that's what we're working from now. We're hoping that by summer, be July or August, that our doors will be back open. But we as a city are very supportive of the EDC and helping them get to the place that they need to, so that we can continue bringing commerce into our city. Did
they just overspend? And
I think there was probably yes, there was some overspending, and I think there might have been some either lack of knowledge or failure to understand that deficits were being accrued as 3 years went by, and somebody was really not paying attention. A lot that happens, I think, because of failure to really understand what these numbers are telling us. But I'm very grateful that the way I see it is, I'm glad we found it.
Oh yeah,
and we're stopping it, and we will recover. And I think that's what the positive thing has to be. We got to turn it around, and we're there to support the EDC to make sure that these things don't happen again, and that this board is always fully informed. The audits are always being shared, and the practices are no longer going to take place.
Mayor, is this the first time we talk to you? If it is, I sure hope it's not the last.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity
yes, sir.
to talk to you all about it. And I do want the public to know that we will be gathering on Memorial Day at the library like we always do. There just will be no staff, but I guarantee you I've got a lot of volunteers that says, look, you don't have to get staff involved. We'll come involved.
Oh, yeah.
So
yes, ma'am.
We will continue to do that. There'll be Memorial Day at 9:00 at the San Juan Library. And then on the festival, we will have a moment of silence to remember, so that we can talk to our folks that the reason that we are gathered, the reason that we do have these freedoms, are those that have come before us and those that are still defending them.
All right, Mayor. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it, and we will talk with you again.
Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
San Juanita Sanchez is the third-term mayor of San Juan. If you have any thoughts, now's the time to express them at 800-580-8255, 800-580-TALK on 710 KURV.
Your yard and lawn should be a point of pride.